The
All Smiling Faces podcast is now sponsored by TireSpot, the Northeast's leading tyre supplier with branches across the region. TireSpot don't just do tyres, they cover everything from servicing to wheel alignment. They can handle every aspect of your car's maintenance. For more information, visit tirespot.co.uk. Enjoy the episode. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Always Smiling Faces podcast on the GallowgateShots YouTube channel. This is the second attempt of this week. Monday's night show did not go to plan, but we are back. It is like old days, boys. It's a very special COVID-esque home recording tonight. So thanks, everybody who is joining us. And once again, it's a full house. It's myself, your host, Kris, joined by Mark, Deka, and Besty. Where would you like to start tonight, boys? Shall we start with an apology for everybody for last night?
Yeah, go on, Mark. Start apologising, mate.
It is Mark. That was, yeah.
I'm loving how I get the blame for the internet being crap.
You were the commander in chief last night, mate. It was, I'm sorry, it was all your fault.
Thankfully, I turned
the goes down with a ship, mate.
Yeah.
Well,
no, but we're sorry, everyone.
Thrown overboard.
We've came back tonight to do a special episode for everyone. So we're good value for money, aren't we, lads?
Yeah.
Giving people what they want.
It feels a little strange, doesn't it? Because there's a couple of things which have changed since the last time we've done these during COVID. And how long ago was that now? 5-6 years ago when we're doing these sort of podcasts. And we've had so many things which are missing from them. You've got the likes of, there's no red stripe. You've got no bread bin, which Besty used to stand his equipment on. You've got no mini milks. But last night, he did have a frozen selfie of Mark Walker.
I like to bring back the good old times.
Did anyone get a screen grab of that, by the way? I'd like to see it.
I think Kris has, I'd imagine.
At least I was smiling on that one.
I do have a screen grab.
I didn't have a thinking face.
Well, Jules has said there's no sex swing either. Dick has a sex swing. It's not inside. He's egg chair. He's what's famously known as.
I've got a new egg swing now next door. The next time we do a home one, I'll be in that swinging back and forwards for you all.
Making everybody feel seasick.
I'm the only one with a deal.
Where would you like? So far, mate, I have wine en route. Getting picked up en route. So. Yeah, but where shall we stop? Because it's been a great week for Newcastle United. It's back-to-back wins, one in the Champions League, which was a great performance. And obviously we come back to St. James's Park and get a great result against Forest as well. Probably when we all thought we needed things to change when it came to results, I think, and performances really. I think we've gone through some games and everybody loves talking about XG these days, and it's been pretty crap, our XG performances against certain teams. But I'll start with you, Besty. We'll go over to Belgium, and it looked like it was a great trip for all the fans involved that went over, many without tickets as well, similar to what we saw last time in the Champions League. And the boys put on a display, a very, very good display against the current Belgian champions and current top of the league as well. So they've done very well over there.
Did great over there as well, yeah. And you're saying, it seems like everyone had a good time. The two lads that stand either side of me, the game went to Belgium. And Smithy, who stands on me right, was saying that one of the lads was saying that the beer's that strong over there, that even the Coke Zero is 3%. It was he said that a cracking time, mate. He says he's never drinking English beer again and all that, but loved it, had a whale of a time. But they're good. They're not really good because I was a bit nervous before the game. I was saying very briefly to Mark last night before the internet thing happened. I didn't really know what to expect from USG because as you say, top of the Belgian league, won the league last season. They were unbeaten up until we played them last week. The Tony Bloom thing, where it's data-driven, it's analytical, so they're kind of very similar to Brighton in how they're operating. But
great performance against PSV as well last time out of the Champions League.
Really good. I think that might be more of a reflection on how the Dutch league is at the minute than it is them maybe. But but they've still got Christian Burgess in centre half, and he was a League One player when he was in the UK, you know. So I think that's kind of maybe you look at how the standards are between the two. But I didn't embarrass them. I thought 4-0 was a fair result, but I thought they played pretty well for them. You know, it was 2 penalties, a flick on and 1 on the break that we've got the goals from. So the goals were problems. Nick Pope played well when he had to. They had a few chances where they broke through. But we were excellent. Like, Baltimore looked great. Tonali was brilliant. Malik Chow has been, since he came into the team, superb. I thought Gordon was dangerous all game. I'm going to make Mark a little bit happy. I thought that for Barnes' goal, Asula did brilliantly. He started. I mean, the caveat would be that the performances have been against Bradford and USG. But in those 2 games, he has.
There doesn't always need to be a caveat. You can just throw the compliment out there.
It does, like, to be honest with you. But he played really well in both games, and there's kind of that a little bit of hope there that maybe he is starting to kind of become more the player that we're hoping he would do. But yeah, that USG game last week was a joy to watch, and we're record away win. I think maybe record win in the Champions League.
It is just
an all-round wonderful night's work.
Yeah, very
last night when I was when I was tuning in Deka last night, there was something which you forgot to do at the very start of the show, and there's 4 words which you forgot to say.
Well, one, you know,
take it away.
Get in that ass.
Get in.
Deka's fault.
Nice, mate.
2 times in a week.
I just want to echo a few things that Besty said. They actually just like, because it was a real banana skin, that one, wasn't it? Because, like, I have to say, I didn't actually know prior to the game itself. I was really unsure of what players they even had, right? And it was after the PSV game, I thought, God, like, they've absolutely smashed them at PSV as well. But then when I looked at the team, I'm thinking, as Besty's mentioned, there was a few League One players in there, and I'm thinking, like, surely we'll have enough to beat these. But I'll say a few things that I said last night before, unfortunately, we lost connection. But I've been quite negative, I'd say, in a way, worried around our attack and around creating chances. And for all, we've been outstanding defensively. Absolutely no issues at all with defence. It's trying to find that balance of remaining as tight and as strong as we have defensively, but being able to create chances. And, like, you know, Baltimore, in my opinion, I think I said he had scored 2 and 2 or whatever it was, but there were only his 2 shots on goal. Like, he's never going to be able to keep that up, so we'll have to try and create more from him. So on that particular night's performance, to get 4 goals, even though 2 were penalties, I mean, I thought Alanga was his best performance in a black and white shirt, was that game. So, you know, and we're off and running in the Champions League, which is outstanding. Then, of course, Sunday, we're backed up again, which we'll come on to. It was a fantastic week for us.
I think it was probably a little bit of naivety from them, with it being, you know, their first home game in the Champions League. As I said, off the back of a good performance against PSV, probably a little bit like what we were in our last campaign of, you know, trying to maybe take the game to the opposition. And I think that's what allowed us to get so much space in behind, because they were coming at us, and it was a good game to watch, you know. And I think even a neutral would have enjoyed that, because both teams were giving it a go. And I think that is why ultimately our wide men did get a lot of joy, because there was a lot of space for them to get in behind. You know, definitely with Harvey Barnes' goal, the fact that we went from our own box in one pass into Big Willie, who showed brilliant strength and a turn of pace to go, and then just laid on a lovely ball for Barnes just to tuck it away nicely. But just that sheer pace of attack, we haven't really been able to see that this season against the teams that we've come up against so far.
I think that the way that they played it helped out massively, and Deka, this is something which was mentioned a couple of weeks ago on the podcast and probably last week as well, that we needed to get the wide players involved a lot more, and they needed to start creating more chances as well. And not just them, as a team, we felt as if we needed to start creating more, because the chances that we were getting, it seemed as if we weren't taking those one or two chances, we would probably go on to lose a game because we just weren't capitalising on those chances. I think as the game went on Wednesday, what night was it? You could just see that the game became a lot more comfortable for us. And the more, honestly, if that game had gone on for another 20, 30 minutes, I think we would have just dominated and just kept on scoring as well. Because come the second half, it was just all Newcastle United, I would say.
Yeah, I think I'll kind of jump forward. I said this last night, but I actually think maybe we weren't actually on at this point. But like, it was funny because we talked about this a few weeks ago, and I certainly did. I said the wide men need to be doing more. And then, funny enough, I think Howe must watch the show, but Howe said it in his press comments, I think, this on that weekend, saying like the wide players are such an important part of how we play, really important for the system and stuff like that. And there's been question marks on Gordon. I still think a lot of people don't actually. Wait, listen, you shouldn't really criticise anyone, right? We should be supporting the players, but I do think Gordon gets away with a lot. Like, he got sent off recently. Hasn't really, in my opinion, done much. Alanga hasn't really hit the ground running. He's found it difficult. But I do want to come on to, maybe this touches more about Sunday's game, but I mentioned this last night about we're trying to learn how to play with a new striker who's a completely different kettle of fish to Isak. Very, very difficult. We've then lost Tino and we've now lost Hall. And I just feel out wide, it's a totally different kettle of fish. We're doing our fullbacks bombing on, helping the wingers. So we're really, bless you, Besty.
Excuse me.
We're really trying to like accommodate a new striker and find a new way to play. We've now got fullbacks, Dan Burn, God bless him, Mark, I'm sorry, but he cannot bomb on his best, better than what Tino kind of Hall can.
I did want to pick you up on this one, and I'll let you off with it last night. But can you just remind us who was it that assisted Bruno on the edge of the box?
You're absolutely right. No, you're absolutely right. But I could be wrong, but did we not have a free kick which then broke down and Bruno running back? I could be wrong. I don't think Burn joined the attack. I could be wrong, but I don't think Burn sprinted and joined the attack. What I will say though, in the space and the
sprint might be a bit much.
Yeah. But you can imagine Hall and Gordon having that link up on that side, and then Tino, if it is Tino right back, say Tino and Alanga or Tino and Murphy. It's going to be a lot more offensive minded, I would say. So I think it's difficult, but going back to that particular game, yes, I mean, getting 4 goals, clean sheet again, a clean sheet by the way, was outstanding.
Coming into the Forest game, Besty, I know Forest haven't been doing great since obviously the new appointment, the new manager, and obviously the chance of you getting sacked in the morning were inevitable in St James Park as obviously we took the lead. But I think we came up against a difficult position that tried to stop us from playing in certain moments of that game, but we kept on knocking on the door, and eventually the goal came.
Yeah, they were set up. They were far more organised. I mean, I watched about 15 minutes of that game with Sunderland last weekend, and they dominated what I saw. It was 0-0 at that point, so it was like really early on. And then I watched them against Midtjylland last Thursday night, and they were pretty dreadful. For all, they lost 3-2 and had 2 goals disallowed, so there's still a threat there. But yeah, the first half I thought it was strange. We started off quite well, kind of created a little bit around the box first 5-10 minutes. And then most of the rest of the first half, I can't remember a single thing about, apart from wishing I was in bed because I was knackered. And then Sandro pulled a shot wide on about just before half time, I think it was, because it was after some nice work. And I thought, I was talking loud the next half time. I was saying, it's rubbish. I'm not enjoying it at all. But the second half, we just came out far better. I think it was partly because Forest were well organised. But I think if Waldemar got into the game a bit more, he was picking the ball up deep. I think I saw a stat, he completed 100% of his passes. But the ball's just bouncing around. He's finding wingers. He's playing the ball square. He's playing it back. He was excellent. And we grew it with the second half. I have to say in the first half as well, Matt Sells made a great save from Joe Linton. That header from the back of the back post.
There's two good saves that he made actually from Joe Linton.
The first one's the one that he should make, but the second one I thought was a great save. In the second half, we'll have the shot blocked by Walter Mara. He hits a crossbar. Sells makes a double save from Chow and Harvey Barnes. And of course, we get 2 goals as well. It was a much, much better second half. I thought we looked excellent. it was still up until the point Bruno scored. I felt it was still a bit laborious, and we're struggling to break them down. And that was a brilliant moment. It's something we've criticised Bruno for before. His technique striking the ball. I mean, not just from distance, from anywhere really. But it was like the first season Bruno again, where he just kind of wrapped his foot around it, lovely, to great hit, and then I mean he won it as well. He won the ball on halfway, didn't he? The kind of for the goal. It was a bit like when Shea scored against PSG when he wins a challenge, goes to Burn through
Marauds forward.
Marauds bounds forward majestically, and plays a killer ball to Bruno. But yeah, it was the second half was much better, and it was with the international break now. You want to go into that in good form, against the side Forest who have been awful under Postecoglou. Like you said, they were singing, you're getting sacked in the morning in St James's. Chris, they'll sing it at the City Ground on Thursday night, the home fans. I'm a little bit surprised he's still there, to be honest with you. But yeah, it's they made it more difficult than they have done in previous weeks, and I thought we dealt with them pretty well, given that we were quite low on attacking confidence as well.
I just think we looked very, very slow in the first half. Like we were keeping the ball a lot, and we had a lot of kind of the triangles going like that we like to do, particularly on the right side with Alanga, Trippier, and Bruno and Tonali seem to be changing position quite a bit on there. But there was times where we just seemed really content to keep the ball and pop it around to each other rather than playing a killer pass in behind. There was a number of times where there was a forward offensive ball on, and we chose not to take it for whatever reason. Just being and I get we are trying to keep a hold of possession a little bit more, but particularly when we are playing with wide men and Alanga who we're wanting to put balls in the box. I think there was only maybe twice that he whipped the ball into the box from the right, and it really wasn't until into the second half that Gordon and Alanga really got into the game and started making a bit of an impact.
I do. You about Alanga, and I'm not sure if you could see maybe, Mark, from where you were sitting, but there was 3 or 4 times in the first half where he span his man and made a run down the line when Trippier had the ball,
and we didn't pass.
And he didn't pass, and I was like, "What are you doing?" Listen, I'm Trippier's biggest fan, but I think that's what he's in the team for, right? Is able to find them passes. And Alanga was like a few times going, "Come on!" Like I was in there, and I thought Gordon, and I mentioned this yesterday, I thought a lot of his good work was ironically almost coming back towards his own goal and running from one side to the other, not forward necessarily. It was quite sideways, if that makes sense. Looked busy, but really, you're not actually going forward with the ball. You're almost coming towards your own goal and going sideways. But that also can be down to, as what Kris mentioned about their organisation, that Forest were well set up, to be fair. But I do agree with you, Mark, that in them situations we need to move the ball quicker and be a little bit more adventurous in our pass, moving going forward.
Yeah, it was crying out for in moments like that a forward ball and getting on the front foot. But as you're saying,
and do you think Shea's a miss there? Sorry. Do you think? I know Chow's amazing. Chow's brilliant, right? But Shea, I always find in them moments, Shea gets the ball and he can fizz a pass into midfield. Do you know what I mean? Do you know what I mean? Or a diagonal pass, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, it's not as if he can't pass a ball, is it? Like he's definitely got that ability. I think we're just not really seeing. And again, he's adapted to being into the side and the team as well. So, and that's why I just think maybe we are. And it is probably a little bit of that we're looking at the way we're playing because of Voldemort and him being a little bit deeper, that we are being a little bit more deliberate with what passing and keeping possession more to move it around and gradually work our way up the pitch, rather than what we used to is that pace and intensity and getting in behind and really driving at them. Because as I say, second half we absolutely did that, and even more so than when we did make the changes with Bonds and Murphy coming on.
I think one of the players that I do want to highlight is a player that we've been waxing lyrical about for a little while now, is Sandro Tonali. Like, he is got such an engine on him, and he's covering every blade of grass on the field. And just watching him, if you just take your eye off where the ball is, and if you just watch Tonali by himself, he is unbelievable in midfield. I know it's came out my mate Paul Scholes thinks he's the best midfielder in the Premier League, which we've been saying this for a long time, lads. We're like, when everybody was going on about Isak being Newcastle United's best player, we've sat there and said, well, it's probably Tonali, but obviously your striker's going to get the nod towards these certain titles that players get. But Mark, we were sat and just admiring his performance on Sunday.
He's just unbelievable, isn't he? Like the calmness that he has on the ball, the amount of times he just finds himself in the right position, being able to break up play, just turn and come out of it with the ball, carry it, winning fouls when he needs to. The amount of times that he had maybe 2-3 players on him and he'd still come away with the ball, and then just get a pass away. And he just keeps things really, really simple as well. Like I say he never looks like losing the ball. Of course, he will from time to time, but it's very, very far, few and far between where he does give the ball away, because he is just so cultured. We're unbelievably lucky to have him in the team, and it's just a shame that we had to wait so long to get him in there with everything that went on in his first season. Imagine what a player he'd be like now.
He went down with I don't know if I was a bit nervous. He went down feeling his left knee during the game, and I was a little bit worried because he was almost, and I thought, oh my God, I can't afford to lose him. But just to echo what Mark said, there's so much in modern football which really annoys me is your class is a 6, so you've just got to be a holding midfielder. You do nothing more than that. You've got a 10, etc. When I watched Tonali, he's a 6, and 8, and a 10 within 20 minutes of a game. You know what I mean? He's picking it up deep. He's running. Sometimes he's running out wide. Sometimes he's creating a move. Sometimes he's breaking up play. To mention what Kris said about off the ball, there's a few times I watch him even when we're in possession, his head's on a swivel looking at the potential danger if we lose the ball. He's an all-round tremendous midfielder. Absolutely,
brilliant. And times where you see the ball the ball comes over the top and he's the one chasing it with a striker on his tail, and he's going to deal with it. He did it once against Forest Day at the weekend, where he just kind of took the ball up wide, step, just got a yard on the broke and played it. Something else he did on Sunday that I loved was after Voltemada's goal, he dragged him back towards the crowd so he could celebrate with him. I think that's a sign of the kind of how he is within the team, and like because obviously there was talk after he came back from the ban last year that Juventus want him, this team want him, that team want him. Is he going to want to go back to Italy and stuff like that? But he seems to be that trip to Wetherspoons when he first arrived seems to have done the world of good, because he's it feels like he's really part of the kind of furniture here now.
And he doesn't strike a ball so well. Like it was a couple of weeks ago. Well, yeah. He kicked him out of play well from a kickoff, by the way. But there was one a couple of weeks ago. I think it might have been Wolves at home, where he worked onto his left foot and hit the post. He can use both feet. You know what I mean? He is a fabulous player.
I had someone saying through the week that after the USG game that he's been working on his striking of the ball. I don't know if House had him in for extra training, or if somebody he's identified that he needed to get better at. But yeah, apparently he's been working on that.
Yeah, Bruno came out and said the same, didn't he? Around the shooting, and it is probably a bit around what I was saying, is that we need the midfield and wide men to be chipping in with more goals. We absolutely do. Now. I think we sat here last week and talked about that as well. Right. So, and yeah, like Tonali, you do feel a bit more confident with him around the edge of the box than you do Bruno, from the clinicalness and the cleanness of his strikes. I think with Bruno, it's more those ones like he scored at Saturday, where he can bend it rather than going for power.
The keeper should save that, right? The keeper's got to save that.
Oh, Bruno's one. He's nowhere near it. He's nowhere near it.
It's not in the top corner. It's not like
terrible goalkeeper.
It's not like Voltemada's where it's gone miles out of reach, but I think it's a good goal. Like, I don't think you can.
I'm trying not to take anything away from Bruno, but there was a Forest account the day put on going, listen, like Sells was arguably our best player, but there was an angle I seen him from behind the goal, and like, my God, like, it sounds ridiculous to say this, right? But when you watch it back from behind Bruno, if Sells just stands up and takes one step to his left, he just literally catches the ball. He almost, what Shola was like 7'2", but when he jumped, he was 5 foot. That's kind of what happens to Sells. He jumps and he's actually lower than when he starts on it's weird, honestly weird. But I don't want to take anything away from Bruno.
I think you're doing them a disservice there, because of the way that it's. obviously the Burn lays the ball off to him, and it's almost instant that he strikes that ball, and I just don't think Sel's got any chance to react to it. Position.
I thought it was in the top corner. I thought it was in the top corner when I first, but when you see I'm telling you, it's almost middle. You know, it's almost middle.
But he gets a lot of bend on it, so that's what I think takes it away and then comes back in. But I don't think he's getting anywhere near that.
I think
and
what we do need to address, I think,
the penalty.
Mm-hmm. All right, yeah. So that's what I was going to come on to next. One of the things that we do need to talk about, and I think this is going to be quite a talking point. I do apologize, my Wi-Fi is a bit delayed here because God knows what's happening. I must be in the studio. But one of the talking points is going to be the penalty. So obviously midweek, in the last couple of weeks, we've been anticipating and guessing who our penalty taker is going to be. Then we found out on Wednesday it's Gordon. Gordon has been practicing penalties, and he is now our designated penalty taker at this moment in time. Will that change after what we saw on Sunday? So on Sunday, Gordon's off the field. Yeah, he has been replaced at this point. Then it's Anderson that gives away a penalty, and Voldemort goes and picks up that ball straight away, and we were looking in the ground mark and saying, well, is this Newcastle's normal trick as to a player picks it up then gives it to somebody else? Jacob Murphy goes over and he tries to take the ball away from Voldemort. I'm not sure if he's just messing about, but he is not giving that ball to anybody. We saw on Wednesday he was desperate to take both penalties, never mind one of them. So obviously his chance comes on Sunday, and we knew we had quite an unorthodox way of taking a penalty, but I was not expecting that. I'll tell you that now. When I saw that weird, slow approach to hitting the ball, then he's almost power chipped it into the roof of the net. And I think that might be the greatest penalty I have ever seen.
It was scandalous, wasn't it? Absolutely scandalous for him to try that. Given it's his first penalty at the Gallowgate end, up against the keeper that's having a blinder in the game. It just shows you what confidence and belief that he's got. We're kind of there looking at it thinking, what's he going to do? We talk about unorthodox penalty taking with the last fella that used to take them for us, and it was definitely a different way from those. That's for sure. But yeah, like I've never seen a penalty ever taken like that. The way he kind of like. It's like a bit, Deka, I'll appreciate like this. It's like almost like a golf shot, isn't it? The way that he kind of like comes down through the ball, but the amount of power and ferocity that he gets it cannot be any further into the corner of that net.
I couldn't believe like how close his feet are together at impact. It's quite unbelievable, as you say. But I just want to go back to what Mark mentioned there. Like for me, the how much he wanted to take that penalty. That was his ball. I am taking this penalty. That's what I want my striker to be doing. And you mentioned the midweek game. He was the same in that game. He wanted to take them. Fair enough, Gordon took them, and that's fine because that's the order of what it is. But I love the fact that he's so confident and believes in himself that no, this is my moment and I'm taking it. Fantastic. I love that attitude. Like
the thing about his feet being really close together, I noticed that as well. It's such an unusual. I mean, away from the run up was kind of a bit stuttery and all that, and that's how some people take penalties, isn't it? But he kind of rolls his ankle as well after he hits it. His left foot, he ends up standing like on the side of his left foot, the outside of it. It's weird. It looks so uncomfortable. Like you say, it keeps his body dead low and all that. But if it works, he'd do it every time for me.
Because I feel like there's a chance, right, that what could happen is he almost double hits it because they're that close together. If he doesn't get it really right, it could hit his right foot, then his left. Obviously, it won't count. Look good, but
there's also a chance
that it just comes flying out.
Yeah, that just goes over the Gallowgate as well if you hit that wrong.
Yeah. I think there was a few people now. I think there's a few people may have, in the moment thought, God, it could be going over, but it was like the roof of the net, wasn't it? Totally unsavable. But an amazing moment for him. Really, really good.
It was interesting as well, like with Matt Sells, like because he he obviously clearly didn't have a clue who was going to be taking the penalty either, and I don't know whether it was a bit of him trying to buy himself a bit of time and put pressure on the penalty taker, or whether he was going over to get a bit of because normally they'll have water bottles with it on and stuff like that. Whether he's gone back to the bench because he just disappeared as soon as it was given. He was straight over to their bench and had a conversation and then meandered back, which obviously took a long time for the penalty to be taken, which again just shows you the calmness and composure that even with that extended delay, that he can still pull off a finish like that. But like Sells was all over his line and kept kind of indicating with his arm to almost get him to flinch. But I think like when you see the because there's a few shots where it's from behind behind Nick, and it almost looks like he's looking at the top corner all of the time and saying that this is where I'm going to put it. So again, is the keeper thinking it's a bit of kidology? He's not going to really put it there. He's going to go the other way, but he doesn't even get a chance to move because he just hits it that quickly and viciously that it's gone. It's in the top corner before he even has a chance to take a breath.
There was a comment on screen there as well saying, has it ever been a goal of the month, which has been a penalty as well? Honestly, the way I can't get over just how well he's struck that. And there's another comment in saying, you'll definitely get one of them wrong and will be crucified, unfortunately, as well. So he's very, very brave to take that the way he has. And like Deka said, it's confidence as well, and that's what we want from him right now. He's oozing confidence, and you can see it. There was a moment, I think it was later on in the game as well, where he just skips around about 4 or 5 Forest players, and that's obviously where the nickname comes, Besty, what he had in Germany, Volta Messi, because the ball just sticks to his feet.
He's got lovely, lovely feet. He did it against USG last week as well. There was the video that the club shared where he's on a halfway line and he rolls it past someone, drags it back, puts it through someone's leg, and he's got a wonderful touch on him. It shouldn't be overlooked either that he wins the penalty. I know it's Bruno gets fouled by Anderson, but it's him chasing down Milinkovic that kind of creates a chance because the ball's in the corner and Milinkovic is just kind of dawdling over there. So it's Waltemar's kind of industry that wins it. It'd probably be remiss not to mention that Milinkovic was trying to get inside his shirt for most of the game as well. He was pulling him and yanking him, and he was really, really physical to the point where, like, the crowd, it happens all the time. Defenders and strikers have that, but he was every single time the ball was going forward. He was getting away with it. I thought they did. There's an argument to say that the left back could have been sent off with 2 handballs, and he got booked for a foul in the end as well. Which is why I mean, when Alanga went off, it was at the point just after he'd been booked and the left centre half had been booked as well. And I thought, well, now's the time you want Alanga to run at them. But then Murphy came on, and that double save from Chow and Barnes, he put the ball in for both of them, and they're both brilliant as well. Like, you kind of forget that he's got that about him. He's got real quality, putting the ball in the box.
Unbelievable quality, unbelievable. And I've historically, I know I've had me say about Murphy, but my God, he can't half put a ball in like. And the pass for Barnes was amazing, absolutely amazing. He's done really well there. Like, to be fair, Murphy.
Is it too early to say that we have clicked?
We've been doing it for 10 years or so now, so we should have.
Yeah, I think it is still a little bit early. There's definitely the green shoots of progress there, isn't there? We're starting to move in the right direction. But fast forward into that couple of weeks, and if you have a couple of scrappy 0-0s or we lose a game, the doom and gloom merchants will be back out. You'll be calling for Eddie Howe to get sacked again, and we'll be back to square one.
Piss off.
Yeah, I don't think. I think that if we're to quote like what Besty was saying at the start there, like, you've only got to go back 45 minutes, take the second half out of it. The first half, he's going down talking to his mate at half time, going, "My God, this is dross." Like, the performances have unfortunately haven't been great in some moments, right? But we are dealing with a lot, and we've obviously got the new guy up front. And my only honest opinion with him is there was a stat came up where it was he had 3 touches in the first 40 minutes, 3 touches of the ball. Like, we're at home here against a team who are absolute dog, we have to somehow get him more involved. And I'm not criticising Voldemort after that, by the way. But what I do, sorry, I meant to mention this, but I moved on to Murphy. Only a couple of weeks ago, by the way, that guy had to come off against Wolves after maybe an hour, I think it was, because he was cramping up. Premier League's too quick, blah, 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 blah.
Still in the first half, yeah. First
this guy's now chasing someone down at right back in whatever minute it was when we won the penalty. I know it was later on in the game.
84, 85, I think.
Exactly. Like, just think of them few weeks.
Yeah.
You know, in terms of his fitness, and that's fantastic. I think that he's been able to now push himself and be able to play a full 90 and all the rest of it. You know, I thought his pressing was a lot better on Sunday as well. So really, really excited actually for what he can bring moving forward. Like,
yeah, I mean, in a week as well, isn't it?
Exactly.
No mean feat.
It's been accepted that it's going to take him a little while to bed in because he's come from the Bundesliga. And the Bundesliga is not a farmers' league; it's a good division. Like, you know, I think that they don't have the depth, the strength and depth that the Premier League has. But it's a good, you know, you're playing against, and he's at Stuttgart. It's not like he's at Bayern Munich or Dortmund. So he's at a good, but not one of the kind of elite teams in Germany. And he's still, he's really hit the ground running, and he's happy because Wissa's obviously out for like the next 10 years or whatever it is. So for him to have had the return he's had, even though like I said, I think like I said earlier, he'd only had his 2 goals that he scored up until the weekend were from 2 shots or 2 headers, and all of a sudden he's had that one blocked on the line on Sunday. He's had the one where he's hit the crossbar. He's getting involved more in the games. And you can see, I think it's early to say it's clicked, but it's clicking. It's maybe close. We're getting there. Like
we're very lucky in a way, aren't we? That was funny as well. We're very lucky, you know, because given the Vissa situation, like him being injured, like it's a lot of pressure on him, isn't it, to come in and have to try and deliver. So we've been really lucky there, I think. Well, not lucky, but credit to him. Sorry, credit to him that he's been able to come in and do a job.
And we're going to have to be patient because there'll be games where it doesn't work for him.
Absolutely.
There'll be games where he comes off the pitch after like an hour or whatever. Where it's been like the first half was on the weekend where he's had 3 or 4 touches and he's struggled to impose himself. I think he will see more of the ball than that he would have done if he'd have stayed, just because he comes deep for it and he looks to play it and all that. And again, he's still bedding in as well. But yeah, I'm really, it's just it's so exciting because he looks great. And the Sheeran Ferdinand thing, the first player, only players to have scored in their 3 first home games. Like, I don't want to get too excited and say he's going to catch either of those 2. Like, but it's promising, isn't it? I mean, Gouffran broke a record for scoring in consecutive home games as well. So,
make Kris's friend.
Yeah, not always. You can't prove everything with that kind of stat. Like, but it's a really, really good start. We'll see what happens after the international break when we get more Champions League games. When the competition starts to get a bit knackered, we'll get towards Christmas. It's a long season, but a really, really promising start from him.
I did want to mention one thing. Sorry, did you think that was a penalty on Burn?
Seen it back? Yes,
I've not seen it back. I thought at the time, but I've not seen it back.
For me, it is.
It happened a few times, Deka. Like honestly, throughout that game, it happened a few times where you're seeing players, not just our lads being obviously pulled to the ground and things and wrestled. It happens all the time. And was it just a couple of seasons ago where apparently they're clamping down on shirt pulling and God knows? And how many times did we see Big V shirt getting ripped off his neck, not just in the box, in the middle of the field as well, and the referee was doing absolutely nothing about it? And every time a Newcastle player had a slight little tap at a Forest player, the referee just slowed the game down every single time, and it was really frustrating to watch. Especially there was one in the center of the field where Voldemort does unbelievably well to retain the ball. Then he's honestly, at one point you just see his shirt getting ripped off his back, and the referee just doesn't do anything about it. And you can, give him a chance. He's already fighting a battle, up against 3 players going at him, but that's just adding even harder work on the load that he's got. And we were getting really frustrated at that, Mark.
Yeah, and it was quite obvious to see as well because he had a black skins on underneath his shirt. So every time his shirt was being pulled over, you could just see his black undergarments, and so the referee can clearly look at that and say, well, see that his shirt's being pulled off him, because you wouldn't be seeing what he was wearing underneath his top if it wasn't being writhed all over the place. But Besty mentioned it earlier. It was just a constant kind of wrestling and grabbing at him and stuff like that. And he was getting very, very little protection from the referee in those instances. And it's maybe that's where his size and physicality goes a little bit against him, because referees will be looking at him thinking, well, he's a big old lump, he can handle himself. It's a bit of rough and tumble, but you've got to stick to the rules of the game. And if you're physically having your shirt pulled in such a manner that you're able to see what you're wearing underneath it, then you've got to clearly be able to manage that situation and call a foul.
Well, I think, but I'm with you, Mark. I think I agree. There's certain times where it's a bit of 6 and 2 3s, right? Burns holding on to him, Burns laughing and joking, and then he's holding him, and there's a bit of fun going on here. However, that one went to VAR, and VAR turning around saying there was minimal contact. I'm sorry, that's not minimal. And I'll be honest, I always try and do this way. I'd look at it from our side. If that was Shea holding one of their players, for example, I'd be worried, because he had 2 arms around him before the corner's even taken. I thought they were very lucky to get away with that.
Is this the one where he made him retake the corner?
Oh, that was another one.
Is that different? I can't remember. I
don't think it was that one, yes. I don't think it was that one.
I forgot about that until you mentioned that, actually.
Yeah.
That was ridiculous, Besty.
It was a blatant foul, and he just said, just take the corner again.
I think he said, from what I can gather, he'd blown the whistle before the corner was taken, so because the ball wasn't in play, it was one of those ones, I think. But I can't remember the Dan Burn getting held one. But
it was not long before that one, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, I'll find it.
If you see it back, I mean, there's obviously the freeze frames, which always do look pretty bad, but the actual replay of it itself, and then the freeze frames does make it, stonewall that it should be a penalty given. But it seems to be a weekly basis now that we're talking about potential issues, VR getting involved or not getting involved.
It didn't matter. Thankfully, it didn't matter, because there'll be moments, I think, in the season, where it could be 0-0, say, and then that happens, and we're screaming for a penalty. So, but thankfully, it didn't matter. But I agree with Kris. I think Kris said it. You see it all the time. I actually, honestly, feel it's getting worse. Honestly, I do, because now I think every team's doing long throws. Everyone tries to be Rory Delap. The corners are trying to be dropped on a 6-yard box. I find the holding and the grabbing is actually getting worse, surprisingly, but.
Because we are doing that thing as well, where we're lining up from the penalty spot or on the edge of the 18-yard box, then trying to run into. I think that's almost trying to win penalties, trying to hope that someone grabs you or knocks you or something like that. And we're very. We are. It depends on an outswinger we're doing that. On in-swingers, we're crowding the goalkeeper, I've noticed.
Yeah.
But on outswingers, what you can see them like lining up from the penalty spot, pretty much a straight line like England used to do. And then on the run up, they're kind of moving around, and it's. And
we still have to be better. I have to say this: we have to be better on corner kicks for offensive ones. When I see our lads walking into the box, man, goodness me, we have some monsters in that team.
Yeah, huge.
And
Deka, this is a question. I'm going to put the question on screen, Deka, and I'll let you answer it. So the question is from Graham Richardson that says, why are our set pieces so bad? Land of the Giants, and we hardly ever win the first header at corners. So it's kind of just take the words out of your mouth, Deka.
Land of the Giants, love that. No, he's absolutely right. Like, I think it every week, and when I see the ball go out for a corner, I get quite excited. Then part of us thinks, I never score from a corner. Like, do you know what I mean? But you're right, though. You've got Burn, you've got Joe Linton, you've got Chow, you've got. I'm only naming a few there. Really hell, Baltimore, 15 feet. Like, we've got a big side, and I still always say some of it comes down to delivery. Your delivery, you can have the biggest lads in the world, but if you hit the first man every time, there has to. Listen, you would think, right, that in all of the team meetings and the training that they have, how we'll look at that and think we aren't. The output of set pieces is not good enough. Hopefully it'll click. But we have to be better. There's no doubt about it.
It's something which we've been seeing for a little while now, Besty, hasn't it? In relation to set pieces, but since the start of the season, really. And we've had so many lads try and attempt the corners, and we just constantly hit the first man, and then it's so frustrating to watch. It really is. It's
massively, like I say, like I said, we've got beasts looking at the team lineup, the team photo that I took before the USG game. Joe Linton's in the back row, and he's the smallest bloke. And he's like 6'2", so whatever he is, he's massive. Because the lads are that tall. Obviously, one of them's Nick Pope, and he doesn't go for corners often, thankfully. But big old boys. I think it is delivery, and the set piece coach gets a hard time a lot of the time. And I don't think that's necessarily fair, to be honest with you, because even your best, you could have the best set piece coach in the world, I think, and you wouldn't score more than a couple of seasons maybe. But we had that one against Villa, didn't we? Where Burn and Shea kind of got in each other's way. That was always wonder if that one went right. Would we have kind
that was
of
great.
Yeah, I think Dan Burn.
Yeah, see, it's things like that which you're absolutely spot on there, Besty, because the set piece coach might be making the greatest of movements, but if the actual person taking the kick kicks the first man, well, it's plot done, like you know.
Yeah.
I just find sometimes maybe trying even a short one to then create a better angle for the person crossing the ball, just something a little bit different to help the corner taker get a better angle to whip the ball in. It's frustrating, but hopefully that it'll come good, because to your point about the Champions League game and that team photo, that was the first thing I noticed, how small Joe Linton looked compared to the rest of them. And Joe Linton's an absolute monster, you know.
There was a bit as well with from the corners where I think it was Nico Williams, if I remember right. He was marking Voltamade, which seems a bit strange in the instance of him doing that. But what it was actually doing is when the ball was coming in towards into Voltamade, he was just leaning into him, and obviously because of the height difference, he was just catching him on the hip just by leaning into him, which is completely putting him off balance and not allowing him to be able to get anywhere near him. So it's actually quite a clever tactic from Forest to combat the
sounds like
advantage.
It sounds like he's a mini Harry Kane. You know when Harry Kane used to do that, just not looking at the ball, just lean into someone.
In the
remember that? Yeah.
But yeah, he was just easing in and just leaning into his hip, just obviously put him off balance. Shall
we go through a couple of questions, boys? Because we've got quite a few tonight, so we might as well go through them in the last 15 minutes. As always, we've got a donation from Josh. He says, second time lucky. He also follows that up with another donation and a question. He says, thoughts on our defensive record this season? As a fan of all things goalkeepers and the biggest Nick Pope apologist, I'm loving the clean sheets. Besty, you are the member of the goalkeeping union, as always. But not just Nick Pope. Let's just talk, like Josh says, let's talk about the defence as a whole. They've got a very, very good record this season for clean sheets, and you can't look past that.
Brilliant. I mean, we haven't conceded away from home yet this season. In the Premier League, we've only conceded against Arsenal and Liverpool, the top two teams in the league. And I mean, Pope's been excellent for the most part. But you can talk about that, giving the ball away towards the end of the Arsenal game up Amy's home. But Pope's been brilliant up to that point in that game. He was excellent. I think on Saturday, though, he didn't have a massive amount to do. What he did have to do, we dealt with quite comfortably. And that's because of how well we are defending. I mean, you look at it now, ironically, I mean, we've had to change all four defenders over the course of the season. Started off with, all four. Tino's left back, Trippier right back, but Lewis Hall came back. Hall's injured. Shea got the injury. Burns had to go left back. And obviously Tino's out for a long time as well now. So you've got Trippier right back. Malik Chow has come in, has been absolutely brilliant. Botman's come back and thankfully looks like he's the Sven Botman from 2-3 seasons ago. The injuries appear. I mean, again, on about not clicking, or not saying that was click too soon, but he looks better than he's looked for ages. He looks fit. He looks like capable. And I mean, Dan Burn at left back, we all agree Dan Burn's not a left back, don't we? But
despite being player of the season in one season that he played there, and
he's like me with Maxi him, and he will not have it, will he?
But yeah, I mean, one of the reasons that Pope's we've conceded some few, especially away from home, is that we're just defended brilliantly, and we are defending great. Chow and Botman at the centre halves. I mean, it's going to be hard to see. It'll be interesting when we'll have a real left back available again, or a right back who can play at left back. What happens with Burn? Because I love Dan Burn. Dan Burn's been brilliant all season. I don't mind him at left back. He's just, you can see the lack of pace. It was a problem 2 seasons ago, and I was saying last night before we got curtailed, before Mark cut the cable.
Because Burn off.
He's quite a bit heavier this season apparently as well. He's something like 6 kilos heavier, I think I read. So
yes, Besty, I listened to something. He done an interview not so long ago, and he was talking about how he had to put weight on to basically sit in that centre back role compared to in the left back position. So now, obviously, like you just said, and dressed like he's going to be that little bit heavier now. So he's going to have to start losing a bit of weight because obviously the injuries that we'll have, God knows what the formation is going to be in relation to the lineup. If Dan Burn's going to continue there at left back, or is it going to be a possibility of, if needed for rotation purposes, it's Trips coming in at left back and Kraft you probably argue at right back.
Yeah.
I don't think Ashby's in the squad, is he?
He's gone.
Is he? Where is he?
Target are going up
there. Yeah, he went out on loan, didn't he?
Yeah,
I didn't realise that.
I thought he did. Yeah,
I know Target. I didn't realise Ashby had as well. All right.
I think you know about the defence there. Listen, I get now Hall's injured and Tino, so Burn has to play there. But there was only about 2 weeks ago, right, where we were saying how's got a massive decision. Who's he going to play centre half? To think how well Botman and Chow are doing, are keeping Shea out of centre half. I mean, that's unbelievable, man. Shea and Burn were the absolute, of course, when we had Tonali, I get that, but they're one of the most two important people on the team sheet. You just knew it would be Burn and Shea. You just knew that was a centre half. So there's real credit to Botman and Chow to come in and almost make that their position. That's just incredible.
I said this a couple of weeks ago, Deka. I said that when Fabian was ruled out because of concussion protocols and that he was going to be missing a handful of games. I said it, if they perform pretty well, that he's going to find it very, very hard to get back into a starting lineup. I think maybe when a cup game rolls around, you probably might see him come back in at that point. But I think as soon as the Premier League games and the Champions League games come back around the corner, I think it's going to be back to Chow and Botman because they've been unbelievable.
Yeah, and I don't want to. I don't want to say this. I just you know injuries and you know what can happen, and I just hope that there's probably a chance that someone may get hurt and then Shea comes back in. I just worry about Botman a bit playing as many games as he is. Chow's been absolutely unbelievable, to be fair. So, you hope, because just to be fair, if something happens to one of them centre halves, we're in a bit of trouble because, yes, everyone will go, just put Burn back there, but then you've got nobody left back. So then my worry is you see Lascelles. And listen, I know there's a lot of respect for Lascelles, a lot of you like Lascelles, but if you're losing Botman or Chow for Lascelles, the downgrade is a drop. It's a drop.
Yeah, I've got Shea to come in before that as well, though. I think it's a nice problem to have now because what choices have been in the last couple of seasons have been either Lascelles or move and play Kraft. How many times did we see Kraft playing in centre defence last season? So we've definitely got 4 very good starting centre halves in the ones that we've got, and then Lascelles almost your 5th. It just so happens that because of injuries now at full back is that we're having to deploy back Dan Burn at his second best position of left back, and just rely on Trippier in his right back position.
Well, look, he might still be at the club, mate, but you'll probably got more chance of me at right back than Ashby, if I'm being truthful with you.
Yeah, so just for those audio listeners, we've had a comment in from Luke Curtis that says, Ashby's still at the club, you dafty. I love how he's put you dafty on the end of it.
Was he not loaned at QPR, or was that last season?
Maybe last season he was away. He's back. He played a bit pre-season, didn't he?
Yeah, he played a bit pre-season, yeah.
I thought when that happened, when he played a bit pre-season, I thought that meant that we might see him in the squad a bit more often this year. But like I said, I don't think he's in the 25 for the season. And I'm sure if he's of an age now where he would need to be registered, he's not like one of the under 21s or whatever it is that can kind of get free reign. Like, but yeah, but looking a bit light at fullback all of a sudden with Hall and
your mic's in trouble, Besty.
Is it? Well, hang on.
Yeah, you've got a bit crackly.
A bit crackly. Crack.
Is that a bit better?
No, don't know.
No, because you've stopped talking.
I should probably talk to test it, shouldn't I, rather than saying
is that
better?
Still there,
man.
Yeah, you just shut up. Somebody else take over.
I was going to say something. Actually, what we're talking about, not Ashby, Kraft. No, that was it. Sorry. So you've mentioned Paul Scholes.
Strength and depth at the back.
But I don't know how I've went from strength and depth to Paul Scholes. But Paul Scholes.
Come back to Paul Scholes.
Well, not really. But what about the overlap? Or whatever it was. Sorry, the fans. I forgot what you call that now. Actually, sorry.
Overlap.
I don't. Have you watched that or not? Have you watched it? Yes or no?
I think you'll probably not be surprised to hear that I stopped watching that a while ago because I kind of detest everybody that's on it. So
well,
I'm not watching it.
I am going to say,
I don't mind the Man City one.
I do find it a disgrace that I didn't actually bring this up for this part, but I'm going to say it now anyway. It's a disgrace, mind you, that you've got, it looks like 400 fans sitting there in the title for people, and it's always the same four. It's Man City, it's Liverpool, but I don't understand that, and I could be wrong. Maybe they might do a different show which picks on other people that I'm not seeing, but I don't understand why everybody's there in the total four people. But anyway, the point I was trying to make was, yes, so they were speaking to the Man United lad, the Man United fan, Adam, I think he's called.
Yeah.
And well, I didn't want to say that, but I'd agree. He was the one about who next then. So if Amaran's sacked, who do you want in? And I think it was Scholes or Carragher said Eddie Howe. Like, they just kind of shouted it out, and he was like, absolutely not. He went, no chance. Like, proper, like, no chance. And then all of a sudden it quickly turned, and those that have watched it probably see, is like about his mate. And even Carragher then said, yeah, I get what you're saying, that his mate, meaning Tyndall, by the way, is a joke, and fans are quickly getting sick of him. And I think Eddie Howe's going to struggle with that in the future, that he's got him hanging on him. And there's all this kind of like couple of minutes segment about, not a couple of minutes, a minute or so about that. Even Carragher saying this, but it was Carragher that said it, that Tyndall's becoming a bit of a joke. And
this is what frustrates me, and I've slagged this show off plenty of times, and we well, for you, we've been on it from
definitely
the
get
podcast.
not invited back now, are we?
Well, yeah, of course I was going to get invited back. But I think the thing that annoys me is that when you get these personalities on it, which are basically the highlight of the show, is what they will call them, the likes of the, like you've said, like Liverpool fans, Man U fans, Chelsea fans, that little dwarf that they've got on as well. Rory, what he's
we'll go, lads.
I'm going to go. Yeah. But I think the issue is as soon as they are given the airtime and as soon as they're given the microphone, the likes of Carragher and Scholes just go along with it. Like, and they, oh yeah, we'll make a joke about it. No, like, do you honestly think Jason Tyndall would make it this far as Eddie Howe's assistant manager if he was an arsehole to be around, or if he wasn't welcoming of anybody in or around the club as well? Because come on, he's managing elite players at this point, world-class players. So put some respect on his name. Yes, from the outside, when you're seeing him clips, you might think, oh, he loves the camera, he loves being center of attention. But what you don't see is everything that he's done behind the scenes. And I don't think I've seen a single player, even current or previous players to play under the likes of Eddie Howe and Jason Tyndall, slag him off. He always is one of those names that is mentioned when a player is interviewed about obviously the time under Eddie Howe. Jason Tyndall's always mentioned about being a great guy to be around in the training field. So honestly, it's about time like people stop taking the piss out of him and thinking that he's just some sort of clown that's just there on the sidelines with Eddie Howe, and put some respect on his name, because it really annoys you. And Carragher, like you mentioned, Carragher goes along with it as well. But nah, you're a professional in this. Like, come on, like don't do that and don't mock him, because you're just going to look like a tit. Yes, you're doing it just for entertainment of those arseholes that you've got in the studio. Yeah,
well, the Ben Foster podcast recently, they were talking about, I mean, he asked the question to players that have actually been managed by Howe and Tyndall, and asked about very much around the fact that he likes to be in the camera, shaking hands with the opposition coaches and all of that kind of thing. And they all said that he was brilliant. He was absolutely brilliant. He was a top-class fella, really good coach and all of that kind of thing. So it just goes to show you there's this a little bit of, and it is a bit from opposition and fans and things like that, because it winds them up. They don't like the fact that he's there and he's involved, because it's not the norm. But when you see the likes of, if you think of Klopp, like his bench would all be involved in things. Mourinho was the same, having them. Yeah, loads of stuff like that. But it just seems to be whenever it's us, it annoys people. And
to be fair, I would
take that as a compliment, that it's people. It's winding people up because it's a jealousy thing.
Yeah, I was really surprised. Well, I shouldn't be really, because he's. But that Adam lad was like, he wouldn't even have Howe. He was like, absolutely not. I wouldn't have either of them. I wouldn't have Howe. And I'm thinking, why? Come on, mate. Like, I get he doesn't like winning all that, but that seemed really petty and quite. And I was just surprised. I mean, Carragher did say he loves Eddie Howe, but I was just a bit surprised Carragher almost sort of played up to it. I was just surprised, that was all. So sorry, but I got Kris going, so that was good.
I think there's probably a bit as well as that.
I've had a wine now.
Given the age, they probably would have came up against them on the pitch because they're all of a similar age, and Tyndall was a bit handy, shall we say, like on the pitch, and didn't always abide by the rules. So
I mean, I get it. I think Mark, you mentioned it just before that I think you just said it before that like when it's sometimes when it's your guy, it's your manager. For example, all of you hate Arteta, right? To be fair, half the Arsenal fans do, but. Like Mourinho, there'll be fans that would have hated Mourinho, opposition fans, when he was at Chelsea, for example. I'm just trying to throw some names out here. But when he's your manager or your player, for example, it's okay. Yates for Nottingham Forest, one of the most dirtiest players I've ever seen in my life, right? But Nottingham Forest fans love him. Joe Linton for us, everyone thinks he's a wrestler. Like everyone that I talk to, he's just a bully, he's a wrestler, he never gets booked. How does he never get sent off? I mean, he doesn't somehow, but we love that because it's our player. So I know there's different sides to every story, but I just think it was a bit disrespectful.
It's all shithouse thing, isn't it? Like it's a whole thing of a shithouse player, and you get it with like Tyndall as well. Like you correct what you're saying. Like you love him when he's one of your own, but yes, he probably does ruffle the feathers of opposition, and we love to see that. And I just think like you mentioned, like how easy they just completely disregarded Eddie Howe because of Jason Tyndall. You're thinking, well,
unbelievable, man.
Eddie Howe's where he is now because of him as well. Like simmer down, lads. Like just put some respect on the name. Like and like why is it all defending Amarin every single week, saying, "Oh, it'll click eventually." Like piss off, man. Like honestly. Tits. Well, the longer they slag Eddie Howe off, like the better it is for us. Like honestly, Sodom.
Was that quote true? Can I sorry to stay on this subject for 1 second, but I seen a quote on maybe Twitter or something where what was he asked? Was Eddie Howe actually asked about the Man United job, and he was like, "No, I'm committed here." Or was this just a lie or something?
No.
Oh, okay. I seen something.
The only thing I can remember recently is the England job. That's the only thing that comes to mind.
Yeah. Have I seen it on BBC or something? And anyway, it was like a question of like you've been linked with the Man United job, and he was again, "I'm focused here, I love the city, etc." But I didn't know if it was just fake news. I'm not sure. But anyway, move on. Sorry.
Yeah, honestly, I think even if one of the big six came in, I don't think Eddie would even entertain it. I like at all. I'd be surprised if he didn't. I'd be absolutely gutted if he even entertained it. To be honest, and I don't know, but money talks at the end of the day. But it's something which we don't even have to worry about right now.
I honestly think for how I think he lives and breathes it. I think he absolutely loves the job he's doing. He loves representing where he loves the football club, and I think we're absolutely fine. Like, how are you doing?
Yeah. And it's not very often you see a manager go to another team when they're currently employed either. It's normally when they're sacked that they get a new appointment. So it's very rare. I think the last one I can remember is Pardew going to Palace. The last one I can remember.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, being in a job and leaving. It's a good point,
That's a good point on Pardew. Did you see his quotes over the other day there?
Was he misquoted in this?
That was interesting. No, he literally, those words came out of his mouth.
Didn't Stuart Pearce say very similar about maybe 2 or 3 years ago when we really were, I have to say, we're red hot. Like, Pearce said we could win the league with Pardew. He said a title contenders, I was like, come on, Alan.
He said it on TalkSport, didn't he?
Yeah, he did, yeah.
He said it on TalkSport, and he's only saying that to get people to ring up because they're annoyed. So I wouldn't read anything into it. It's all part of their thing, and it's their MO. Is your mic working again, by the way?
Yes.
Yeah, it's fine.
Sound yeah, I wouldn't give any credence to that. Like, yeah, but the Tyndall thing, yeah, I agree. He's someone who's been assistant manager to a team that qualified for the Champions League twice in 3 seasons. Has won a League Cup in the last 6 months, 7 months, whatever it was. Like, what more credentials could he have?
Absolutely right, mate. Absolutely right.
Also, on the subject of Tyndall and the kind of backroom stuff, Graham Jones is just Terry Mack now, isn't he? I don't not to belittle him as a coach, but like you see how he's with the players and stuff like that. And he's always got his arm around somebody, and I don't think you can underestimate or understate what he's done since he came in. Remember, he was kind of effectively manager of the club, wasn't he? When Bruce left, but when he came in,
he was one of those. Was he an appointment that Bruce didn't ask for? That was the case, wasn't it?
Yeah, because there was talk that Bruce was upset about it because Jones was kind of taking some of the
an actual coach.
Yeah, I was going to say taking some of the work away from Bruce, as if Bruce would complain about that.
It was, yeah, it was.
Yeah.
There you go. So Callum Lewis has said the Man United job was mentioned in the Wolves press conference, and he said, "No, I'm 100% committed to Newcastle United." Oh, I didn't even notice that.
I know we'll move on from it. I just want to say one thing though. We've already covered it, but I totally understand why when a team do well, it's the manager as the man, and when they're terrible, it's the manager as the worst. But it is the staff behind that, isn't it? Because Howe isn't involved in every single minute of training. He's not involved in every conversation. It is the staff around you that play a massive part. And that's why normally I think Rafa used to do this, and Howe does when he gets manager of the month and stuff. He likes to get the picture with the whole staff because it's collective, isn't it? You know what I mean? They all play the part, you know? Sorry, mate, move on now.
Let's go through a couple more questions because, like I said, there is quite a few which have been sent in. So let's have a quick look. This one is from Roger. So this goes on to a next talking point, and it's something which Besty has been seeing and making everybody scared in our WhatsApp group. So our very own Roger says Besty apologised for his inaccurate Wissa ITK clickbait yet. So Besty had us all shitting our pants on Saturday, I think it was, or Sunday, saying there's been rumours lurking around that Wissa is going to be out for the rest of the season. Those rumours have spread like rapid fire in the last 24 hours on social media. But as far as we know now, Keith Downey has put out a tweet saying that he's spoken to people within the club and that the basically time frame is the same. So mid-November, I think they're aiming for. So Besty, are you going to apologise to us or are you standing by it?
I was just relaying. I didn't put anything on Twitter. I was saying to the lads, I was bringing to your attention what was being said, and sure enough, it was said elsewhere as well. Like, so no, I was merely a conduit.
But like most of these things, it stems from one person just saying it on Twitter and places like that, and then people start retweeting it, start interacting with it. We had the same a couple of weeks ago with somebody that they'd done the knee and they were going to be out for all season, and then. I can't remember who it was now, but they were back playing the next
Callum
game
Wilson.
or whatever. So
it's a shame, though, isn't it? That there's another little setback. It's a shame, isn't it? Like, you know,
I was hoping,
it's just awful, isn't it? Really.
I was hoping it would be when Howe said when it first happened, when he said, "Oh, it'll be like round the international break." I was hoping it would have been this side of it. Obviously, Jacob Ramsey's kind of more or less ready to go now. It would appear. So yeah, it would. I'd like to see.
Maybe who it was.
Possibly, yeah, because obviously Ramsey's got a bit of a history with injuries, similar to Joe Willock. But yeah, I'd love to have seen him play for by now.
Yeah,
but then it's that thing of would Baltimore have had the start that he's had
I just feel, and we'll never know. And what I'm going to say probably is ridiculous, but Leeds 0-0, Bournemouth 0-0. If he had Wissa, could you have scraped a 1-0? Could he have come on and made a difference and scored a goal? You know, you could. We'll never know, of course, but it's just hypothetical. But I think he could have.
I think the fact that as well that Baltimore has adapted really well, because you then look at some of the other big name strikers that have moved this summer, and they're getting pelters from the media, from their own fans.
It's brilliant
because they haven't hit the ground running, and you know, like that could have easily have happened here. And I think that given if circumstances had have been different, then Eddie wouldn't have wanted to throw him into the deep end like he has. But by God, he's certainly swimming at the minute, isn't he?
Yep. I think it's a good point. Like throwing him in the deep end has probably worked wonders for him. It really has. But on the same hand, it could have gone the complete opposite way. Yeah. But luckily, it hasn't. With Wissa, like I'm with Bessie. I'm so excited to see Wissa put on a black and white shirt. I really am. Because I know I haven't done the envelopes this season. And we're a handful of games in there now. We're never going to write. We're a handful of games in now. But if I was going to put top goal scorer on, I would have probably put Wissa's name on there. Now, obviously, with that injury, they pushed it back by, was it 3 weeks? Because we're, like Bessie said, we were expecting it to be this side of the international break. But my worry is something which I mentioned a couple of weeks ago. I think I'm unbelievably worried that now he'll be back ready to go for us for just, 3 weeks. Then chances are he's going to be going back away to the African Cup of Nations. Can the club set in and be like, where you paid a lot of money for. I know there's been rumours of we're looking at some sort of compensation from FIFA for wages for Wissa, but I'm really worried about that.
And your worries are right, mate. I mean, they are. Like, I don't know why on earth, but it's popped me in like Michael Owen, like not fit for us, and then goes away nationally, and the worst happens in that case when it happened. I don't know, and I could be totally wrong. He's probably obligated to play if he's fit, but well, I suppose the player maybe still has a decision, but I suppose he's going to want to go, right? He's going to represent his country,
of course.
But there might be a time. Sorry, mate.
We've seen Big Nick withdraw from the Germany squad today.
He's got flu on him
due to illness. So
that's what I mean. That's what I'm thinking about. Wissa, like, could he maybe say, it's actually I've signed for these. I haven't been able to play for X, Y, Z. I'm not going to go. I'm not so sure I would see that. But
the thing is, Big Nick's pulled out for is it a qualifier? Whereas this is the African Cup of Nations. It's the massive, it's a big tournament. Like, so you kind of. I don't think it's
really friendlies this week, isn't it?
Is it friendlies? Is it?
Yeah.
Oh wait, so it's not really even more. So it's not really a like for like type of situation. Like, so we'll see. Yeah.
Just I'd be good, lads. Like I've said a couple of times, I really want to see him in a Newcastle shirt, because let's say if he doesn't get much game time this season because of injuries or whatever is keeping him out, that's not going to be money well spent, lads. A player, what did we pay? 50 million for him? 29-year-old, and out for X amount of games so far this season. It's a huge question mark over that signing for a player that was in the final year of his contract. And I know the club can't help it, but let's be honest, he didn't have a pre-season because he wasn't playing for Brentford. He'd done similar, not on the worst scales what Isaac done at us, because apparently he was still training, but he's not had a pre-season, and as soon as he signs for us, he's then gone off on international duty and got injured without any sort of pre-season. Like, come on, what was going to happen?
It would just be we've been incredibly unlucky, like. But what I am honestly going to say is fans, media are fickle, right? In that I'm going to say Voldemort, right? So there's buying guys coming out, kicking off and making statements and stuff. Voldemort has scored 3 goals, and no one is talking about his price tag at all, right? If Wissa comes back in November, December, say, and he scores 2 or 3 goals, I'm telling you now, no one will care about the money. And will he come back and score 2 or 3 goals or 4 or 5 goals? I actually think he will do that. I agree, though. I agree that if let's just see, we didn't see him this side of the year. Okay, right? Yes, okay. There'll be questions, but I don't know. I just think a couple of goals in, mate, and I think we'll be all right.
Yeah. And I think he'll do it. Like this is what I said. Like when Isaac was sold and we brought in Voldemort and Wissa, I said then that I think that's an upgrade from what we've had with being Callum Wilson and Isaac, because these two players can score goals. And the question mark was over Voldemort at that point, being like, can he come to the Premier League and perform and score goals? We can see now he's proved that already. He's outperforming some of the other big signings in the league so far this season, so there's no question over that right now. When Wissa comes back, for fine well that he's going to score goals. It's just getting him there, fit, ready to go again, and obviously not hoping that he doesn't pick up any sort of injuries when he's away on international duty, which, like I said, it does worry me. Really worries me that.
I think the wonderful thing, and again, when he plays or comes back, is I love the difference between the two strikers that we've got. I love that you've got Voldemort, Voldemort and Wissa could not be in any way more different, and I love that, because your opposition can apologise. The team you're playing against, your lineup can be different. Which one you might go with. If things aren't working one way, you can then change it. But my God, are you changing it when you bring that substitute on? It's a totally different game. Love that.
And you can play them together, Deka.
Absolutely right. Yeah, absolutely right. You can play them together. Yeah, it's just, and that's why when people laughed, because Kris said there about being an upgrade, I think some people from the outside before ball was kicked were laughing at that, going, "Why are you like? It's just not." But in those moments. In those moments, as Mark's mentioned, a great point about playing them both together, being able to the options off the bit. It really is a great option if we can get him back fit, of course.
And it's a long season, so there's definitely going to be opportunities for both of them to play at different times. And like you've just said, they've both got very different qualities, and they'll be needed at different times against different opposition, depending on how we're going to set up, how we're approaching games. It's a lovely problem to have problems like this. We've been crying out for a bit of strength and depth in the squad, and thankfully we seem to be getting there. And yes, injuries will also always play an impact on that, but you think that the last time that we're in the Champions League, the injury issues that we had there, not being able to bring players in because of we didn't have that strength. Now, when you look at every position on that pitch, you've definitely got two very good first team starting players. You're not taking a massive downgrade by taking whoever it is in that position out and putting somebody in there, because you've got those options and strength and depth now. It's great that we're in this position.
Two things I will say, but I will shut up. Full circle, real credit of Altamara, because obviously Wissa hasn't been fit. Wissa isn't here, and I know we've brought him up now in this hour, but we haven't necessarily thought we've lacked them because of Altamira's start, which is incredible. I do worry, honestly, a little bit about fullback areas, just due to the fact of losing. I think Tino was amazing, and Hall was just becoming. We kept saying these are going to be the fullbacks for England moving forward for years to come, and to lose those two players, is really bad. But
story of your life, Kris, eh?
Big V, lad.
Once again, the audio listeners have no idea because we're putting a lot of comments on screen. There's another question, just as we're talking about Big V. I love those that are just tuning in for the first time. I have no idea why we call them Big V, but we're sticking with for the rest of the season.
I'm sticking with it.
Roger has sent in another question that says, is Big Nick going to become a shithouse the longer he's here, or will he stay a nice boy? I'm starting to see it already. I think he might have a full turn and become an absolute shithouse with the rest of them in there, and I can't wait to see it.
I think he'll definitely be one that winds the other fans up. I really do.
Yeah.
I really do.
Yeah, I do as well, the guy. I think he's got a bit of both of them. I think he's quite clearly seems to be a lovely lad, but he's got the devil in him. Like, yeah.
I think we'll see it develop in him, because it's probably been a little bit of a surprise to him in his first few games. How rough and physical the Premier League is, and you'll have had a bit of exposure to that in Europe, definitely in the summer, in the 21s, coming, because obviously they played England in there, and that was another little bit of chat during this week. They were talking about what he was like to play against with the who was it? Wasn't Kwanzaa, was it? Oh, was Kwanzaa? Was it Kwanzaa? I don't remember now. Coming up against them, and how difficult it was for him to play against them in the summer, and that it wasn't any real surprise to him that he was doing so well so far here, because he was a very, very good player. And I think, just him developing himself in his game, he will have to be toughened up. He will, because almost that shock where he got that little smash against Arsenal, of like saying to the referee and saying to him, well, you've done that. Whereas that will become commonplace in games where he is getting something left in on him. It is a very physical game. There'll be loads of that when he's coming up against other defenders in the league that are like that. So I think there'll be toughening up and strengthening, and you'll see him starting to give it back a bit more as well.
He won't have a tougher than Sunday. Them two centre halves were all over him.
Yeah, they were massive as well.
All over him.
Do you feel as if the more the game went on, that the more he, to use one of Mark's words, adjusted to that game as well? Because I thought, like, as the game went on, especially the second half, like, despite obviously what happened against Forest in the first half and being a physical battle, I thought he adjusted really well to that. Like,
yeah, he did. He really did. And let's be fair, right? You've played against Arsenal the week before. You got Gabriel. Gabriel is one of the best centre halves in the league, right? Like, you have to remember the difference of class of moving from Germany to our league. It's very, very difficult. And I'll go back to it, and I say this every week, and I apologise for saying it again. he is isolated for large parts of the game because there's just nobody around him. So sometimes we're playing balls into him and he's having to hold off 2 and 3 people. And that's why when he does have 3 touches in a game, I'm not necessarily blaming him for that, you know. But I totally agree. The second half, I thought he really, them were physical, them 2 centre halves, mind you. They were grabbing his shirt. They were really physical players. But if you think of it longevity-wise, that game really helps him, though, doesn't it? Like, that could be the most physical he'll come against, right? And the next game, you know, he'll adapt. He'll become stronger. He'll be more experienced in the league, and it just helps him. You know, it just helps.
And his reaction to that as well is really telling, because it's almost, he looked at it and thought, well, referee, you're giving us no protection here, so I'm just going to, you know, it can go one of 2 ways. They can either start going in the huff and thinking, you know, throwing a little bit of a strop because it's not going their way, getting frustrated because he's not involved in the game, or like what we saw from him, he rolls up his sleeves, he gets stuck in, and he's dishing it back and giving it. So, and that's what, you know, when you think of some of the strikers that we've had in the past that were like that, they were cult heroes at this club because of that attitude, that fight, and that desire. So it's but he's just in everything that he does. Like when you see interviews, different little bits and pieces with him, he's just lush, isn't he? He's so nice. He's just an unbelievable character and fella. Like, he just comes over so well.
Yeah,
really like him.
I'm gonna end it on one thing, boys, because we've been going now at 20 minutes now. Honestly, I love home recording, so we've just been off the studio and just do home recordings from now on.
Great, man. Great.
Just sack it off. As you probably realised already, it's 4 years now since the takeover. 4 years today it is. So it's anniversary. Everybody's obviously titled that. Luke Curtis reminded us earlier in the recording. So, question, I know what Besty's answer is going to be, because Besty does this every single year on Twitter. If you don't follow Besty in the club, that you'll see. What one thing are you still yet to see, or that you want to happen since the takeover? So we'll start with you, Besty, because obviously you've got a pre-prepared answer, and you have done for 4 years now. Well, what
I'll tell you what I want to see. There's outside of the turnstile where I go in the corner, it's a real pinch point because there's a wall that goes up and people kind of come and go, and it's dead tight. So and it takes, obviously the card, since they replaced the cards with digital ticking, it takes longer to get in the corner, even though the clubs say that it doesn't. It's like, it's a fact, like it, but because it takes longer, there's a big crowd, people trying to push past each other, and if this wall wasn't there, it would make a massive difference. So my answer is black and white seats.
Okay.
I was really wondering how on earth you were going to remove that wall. Like, to be fair though, because there is 2 flights of stairs behind that wall, which we kind of need to be able to get.
No, it's a ramp. It's a ramp behind that wall.
He's talking about the one on the east stand. That's what Besty's talking about.
You're talking the one right around the corner.
The one that goes up the air, up the tabali on the side.
Yeah,
aye.
I mean, but he doesn't want the one on the corner, Mark, because you literally have like a 20-foot drop.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
But yeah, it is a nightmare, that corner, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Mark, you'll go.
I don't think it would have been a priority for us, but I really want to see the safe standing extended into the whole of the Gallowgate. I think that would really make a big difference to things, and just almost emulating that Dortmund yellow wall somewhat.
Well, now that you've said that, right, and so I agree with you.
I'm opening up the atmosphere kind of worms, yeah.
No, I would love to see that safe stand extended right the way to the back of the Gallowgate and the further end before it hits onto the Milburn stand.
Even if it was the upper tier of the Gallowgate, that would be
all of it. Like, it's all or nothing for me. But I think from what we see, Mark, we are 1, 2, 3 seats away from where it stops. So we're standing 3 seats to our left. It stops.
It goes on a little bit further down in front of we in the lower bowl.
Yeah, but the two end ones So the bookends, we'll call them, to our left, sit down for the game. Even though they're in safe standing, they sit down for the game. So opening that up to the Gallowgate doesn't necessarily mean that everybody's going to stand. Yeah, I get what you're saying, but
if the people in front of you are standing up, you've got no option to do it, have you? Because
you're not going to
some
people do.
Because they're the very front row.
Okay.
Yeah, I see. We got that bit of a we're a bit like uplifted on compared to the rest of it. We've got a little platform. But yeah, I agree with you. I would love to see that. Deka, what would you love to see?
The East Stand renamed the Kevin Keegan Stand.
What you would call Geordie again, man?
Shout.
That to me is the
Jason Tyndall stand.
It's the biggest tap in of all time for me. That biggest, honestly, mate. Like, I know Kevin hasn't come back to the ground in that, but to see him come, hey. I don't listen. What he did for this football club as a player, and then to come back as a manager, East Stand, it's got nothing tied to it. It would just be unbelievable for him to come back and see that his stand is that. It would just be amazing.
Yeah,
that would be me.
That's another great shout. That's another great shout. Mine, I'm going to go down a different option, a different route to what you have. So far we've had seats for Besty. Let's throw. Have we got nets? Are the nets still just all white? Or the black and white now?
They've got to be, because mine would have been black and white nets. We can't do it. We can't.
They're not allowed. Right. Okay. So we can't do that. Mark, what was yours again? Sorry, Gallowgate opening up. Yeah. Deka, yours was renaming the East Stand. Mine is food vendors, and I've got two things I want to highlight, right? Because if you go to the ground at half time, you'll see this. So me, Mark, and Besty will see this. You'll get a lot of people coming from the East Stand to walk into the Gallowgate Stand just for the sole purposes of getting the likes of salt and pepper chicken, which I don't think you can get in the East Stand because different sections that serves different food, right? So to tackle that, I want to see two separate queues, or I just want to see one where you can get food only, one where you can get food and drink, one where you can get drink only. Because if you want to go for a pint and somebody in front of you, the next three people in front of you are getting salt and pepper chicken, it's taking a long time for you to get 1 pint. You used to see the bottled banks there, which you don't see anymore.
Bring back the bins.
You don't see them anymore. Yeah. The bins used to be at the very bottom of the stairs where you could get bottles, and you just I've never seen them once this season or towards the end of last season, to be fair.
How can you be? I mean this honestly as well. How can you be bothered to like queue for 1 pint or a bottle? Like it's for 15 minutes. Really, I just don't understand. Just didn't bother. Like
you've got to go down at least 5 minutes before.
Yeah, which you don't want to do.
Time as well.
How would you know that? You never get your
the lads are back out on the field. To be honest with you, yeah. I'm clever. I get the round in the ball before we go to the ground. But one of the other things, just to add to that, is open up the likes of the vendors, and I know it's obviously all contracted and things like that. But I would love to see something like, I don't know, like Dixon's in there, just so you can get like a Savoy dip or something, or Greg's, something like that. Open up in the concourse as well. Because
get Gills in there, kebab pizza. Imagine that at half time. Queuing up for a kebab pizza, unbelievable.
Yeah, man, it's long enough to queue up for a pint. Never mind for a bloody 12-inch Geordie delight.
Here's one then.
I'd queue for that.
I've got to say though that the food and beverage offering has drastically improved over the last season and this season so far.
Along with the prices going up with it.
Yeah, well, which it will, but you are definitely getting a better selection, a better quality. And I didn't see this, but apparently on Sunday they were even offering a Sunday lunch option. Like it was what's it called, a Yorkshire pudding wrap. Apparently with a Sunday dinner.
Nice.
Early kickoffs, they've started doing breakfast with like sausage and bacon sandwiches and stuff like that. So
Mark knows absolutely everything about the menu, Mark, doesn't he?
It's a secret meetings.
A secret meeting.
He knows the menu.
Mark's autism going through, isn't it?
But long gone are the days of just getting a rollover hot dog and a mince pie, isn't it?
A rollover.
Anything else anyone wants to throw in there as well?
I've got one that hasn't been mentioned. I haven't seen much mention it, but it kind of ties in with Deka's one about renaming the East Stand after Kevin Keegan. and Mark's insistence that someone's got to be dead. We could call it the Willie McFall stand because he died, didn't he, this weekend?
Oh, yeah.
I have long said that the person that we need to honour at St James's Park before anybody is Joe Harvey, because the fact that all of we've got is a little piddly plaque on the corner of the Gallowgate is absolutely shocking. For everything, Deka, you've just been talking about everything that Keegan done for the club. Him as a player, as a manager, what he achieved is unparalleled, and it is just a disgrace that's all that we've got, and it relied on people actually having to do donations and pull it together rather than him being justifiably recognised by the club for his achievements.
No, you're right.
Yeah. I think it was Chris going back to Willie McFall. Sorry, Chris, we're kind of talking across each other there.
No, you go, Besty.
I was going to say, going back to Willie McFall, it's a bit of a shame. I know it happened. He died on this Saturday, I think, wasn't it? It was a Sunday, was the game. So, but there wasn't any kind of, apart from the wearing black armbands, that I don't recall the public address referring to it, or even a minute silence. I mean, the bloke played 380 odd games, so he was a keeper for 12 seasons, something like that. Won the Fairs Cup. He was manager. He was coach. He was at the club from 66 to 88. When he got pumped, and it's a shame he was manager when I started getting into football. Yeah, he was Newcastle manager.
My first memory as a Newcastle manager, really.
Yeah, was me actually.
Yeah, me as well.
I did see something though that apparently it was too late in the day to get authorization from the Premier League to do a minute's silence and stuff like that. But I don't understand why we couldn't have at least done a bit of an announcement before the game or something like that, just to commemorate the fact, and as you say, he's another person that has been a real legend at the club.
Yeah, hopefully it'll be something before the next home match. The Tottenham in the League Cup next home game, I think.
I'm really interested to hear what everybody else's thoughts are on this as well. So those that are watching, even if you're watching this back over, just let us know what things that you would like to see since that they haven't already done at this football club. That they've done so much so far already in such a short space of time. That's not even including things on the field. But yeah, I'm really interested to see what else, because there'll be so many things that we're missing. Of course,
well, the training ground's going to be a big one, isn't it?
Yeah, the plans are all drawn for the training ground, apparently. It's staying,
did you see that?
It's moving, isn't it? Obviously, I think there was rumour too, isn't it?
So it looks like it's just off the side of the A1. It's like the opposite side to the Holiday Inn. It's is that classed as Seaton? Like where you go up to like Cramlington and Killingworth, where you come off at that big roundabout towards the A19. It's just on the right hand side there, but it seems a very, very odd place and not particularly big if those plans are real and correct.
I think it's pretty wise that it's pretty a good time now to call it a night, because Deka has decided to eat the worst thing possible for a podcast, and he's decided to eat prawn crackers.
Well, she's making a curry here, so yeah. But I took my headset off.
Remember that episode we done it? I think it was
just press the mute button.
Factual.
Well, there was. I'm sure it was me, Deka, and Mark. Besty, I'm not sure if you were there or not. And we're done a recording right behind where Deka sat right now, and we were eating popcorn.
Yeah, at least I come back from the cinema and had popcorn. We were like munching away.
We got pelters in the comments because listen to it back. It sounded horrendous.
Well, we're good for 45 minutes.
We're getting back some years there, like, aren't we?
God, yeah, we're not.
Yeah, it was a long time ago. That really.
I've enjoyed it, lads. Yeah. I'm glad yesterday didn't work out, because tonight's been great.
It has been good.
Yeah, it's been nice. Yeah, we're still in the studio.
Why not?
I've just got a key. I've not been able to use it yet.
5 years he's been waiting for this day, and we're out at the first opportunity.
But we'll call it a day. Thanks everybody who has joined us right the way through. This has been over 200 people tuning in live, and honestly we'll love it. And there's been loads of interaction tonight as well. I've tried my best to go through as many as possible throughout the show as well. But yeah, if you liked the video, become a subscriber. It costs you nothing to do that. If you do want to give an extra bit back, which may help us improve things in the studio, it is just $2.99 a month to become a member. You get extra videos, you get early access to videos, you get access to that Telegram group as well. We'll always put updates in that Telegram group if anything like this is happening. Or if we do have any sort of difficulties with certain things in the studio, you'll always be informed in this first of all. There's been a couple of requests from you, Besty, to play a tune on your guitar, but it's too late for that. Besty's kids are in bed. It's far too late for him to.
It's only got 3 strings on it as well.
Out. And to be fair, me and Mark had a rendition before we started. It wasn't very good.
No, I've not played properly for years. It's years. I've got the acoustic here as well, but I'm not doing that. Like,
oh, I'll play Local Hero next week if I do home one.
Mint. Thanks everybody. It's been a pleasure as always, and we'll see you next time. Ta-ra.